Donald Trump once again downplaying the severity of traumatic brain injuries that U.S. troops suffered from in Iraq, as Trump said that an Iranian missile attack on the al-Assad military base in 2020 didn't damage the base or wound any troops.
What does injured mean? Injured means you mean because they had a headache, because the bombs never hit the fort. There was nobody hurt other than the sound. It was loud, and some people said that hurt, and I accept that.
Now, that comment is not new, but it's worth noting that Trump underlined what he has said previously, denying that service members were injured during that attack. I spoke earlier about this with the former Defense Secretary, Mark Esper. He was in charge of the Pentagon at the time. He recounted how serious this was and also how many of the cases became more severe over time. He even visited one of the soldiers at Walter Reed Military Hospital. Joining me now is Iraq War veteran Paul Rieckhoff, who is the founder and CEO of the Independent Veterans of America. You obviously had some strong feelings about this. You called it ignorant and absurd to hear Donald Trump hear this. I mean, if you are a U.S. service member who was there that day, what's it like for you to hear the former commander-in-chief downplay that?
It's insulting. It's a slap in the face, and it makes life hard for you. I think what I really want to underscore is it's ignorant. It fails to understand that traumatic brain injury is the signature injury of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. Almost 500,000 men and women have experienced a traumatic brain injury, and he is the former commander-in-chief. He should know that. And in this incident in particular, over 80 people got Purple Hearts. So if they don't get recognized as being injured, they don't get benefits, they don't get care. One soldier has got 90% lifetime disability. So it's a very significant issue. And it's asinine, it's ignorant, it's confounding. He has no excuse for this. And I think the bigger issue, too, is you're talking about the Middle East. We've got 2,500 troops in Iraq right now, 900 troops in Syria, plenty of troops on ships that could experience exactly this type of injury if rockets continue to fall from Iran and their proxies.
Yeah, which the Trump campaign knows well, because after Vice President Harris said no U.S. forces were in an active war zone, they pointed to where those U.S. forces were. And you talk about, just the actual material benefits of being able to get benefits, the importance of someone understanding your injury. But also, this is something that soldiers have struggled with, is actually saying, hey, I am injured, just in a different way that you may not be able to physically see the same way you can with someone else. It still counts as an injury, though.
Yeah, I mean, and it hurts the national conversation. I mean, we're constantly trying to make the public aware of our sacrifice, of the kind of injuries we're experiencing, and to have the former commander-in-chief say this and double down on it, I think is really problematic. And ironically, it's happening on the night of a debate that's really historic because it's between two post-9/11 veterans. We've never had two post-9/11 veterans on the major ticket together. So you've got Vance and you've got Walsh. They both served overseas, and they may have experienced, troops in their units who had traumatic brain injuries. I wish we got to that more. I wish there were veterans issues in particular we got to more tonight. But, this is the latest in a long string of insulting and ignorant remarks from Trump having to do with the military and veterans. It's a constant thing with him.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a really good point, because he also seemed to just kind of downplay this with the hopes of saying, Iran didn't do this when I was in office. They're only doing this when Joe Biden is in office. I mean, they did actually hit the base. There were 11 missiles, I believe, that actually hit the base and damaged it. There was real damage. But you just said that Trump has a long history of this. I'm kind of surprised this didn't come up tonight, but I think, Trump just says so many things that people just let them go. But when he recently was comparing the Medal of Honor and the Medal of Freedom, we saw the altercation at Arlington National Cemetery. I mean, these would have been campaign derailing moments for pretty much anyone else, especially a Republican candidate.
Yeah, and insulting John McCain. I mean, the list goes on and on. I think what they fail to recognize is this actually hurts them politically. I think tonight we're going to talk about Walsh and Vance, but you're going to see that clip of him talking about traumatic brain injuries over and over again, and that may actually be more significant, especially if you're talking about independent Americans, independent unaffiliated voters in places like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Ohio. Those are largely veterans. Many of them are independent and are watching issues like this, and they vote on character, they vote on integrity, and they vote on who they can trust to be the commander-in-chief. And you want a commander-in-chief who understands what a traumatic brain injury is and can articulate that and passionately advocate for us and not politicize just about every issue that surrounds us.
So what do you think that looks like? Are those movable voters, though, in this scenario when they watch this play out? I mean, that's a comment that Trump makes either at rallies or in press gaggles. It's not necessarily a moment like on the debate stage tonight where tens of millions of people are watching.
I think it's reflective of the questions about his character. You know, does he have honor? Will he respect the office? Will he go above politics and put country first? I think, General McChrystal's recent op-ed in the New York Times is significant. I think he can be in effect very powerful. And he talked about character. He said, I'm voting on character because I don't trust Trump's character and I trust Harris's character more. And I think for people who maybe don't like either candidate, at the end of the day, they're going to trust somebody. They're going to pick someone that they trust or they feel okay with. And surrogates like McChrystal and others, I think, will be effective in moving those independent voters who are largely non-college educated men in the states we talked about. And many of them are veterans and care about national security and are watching right now because they've got friends in the Middle East.
Paul Rieckhoff, thank you for joining, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. I want to thank you all for watching our special report tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night here at 9 p.m. Eastern for The Source. Our breaking news coverage on CNN will continue right after this.